All right, man, peace. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Jameis Winston has found himself in the crosshairs of the liberal media and the NFL now due to the report that he allegedly groped a female Uber driver. Of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Let's start with Jameis Winston. It was revealed today that Winston is under investigation by the NFL over allegations that he groped a female Uber driver who picked him up from a charity event back in March of 2016. Winston denied the allegations, tweeting, quote, "The story falsely accuses me of making inappropriate contact with this driver. While I am certain that I did not make any inappropriate contact, I don't want to engage in a battle with the driver, and I regret if my demeanor or presence made her uncomfortable in any way." Cowherd, what's your reaction here?
Before Colin speaks, let me say this. Just in regards to Jameis Winston's statement, why would you apologize for your demeanor if, according to you, you didn't do anything? Just by you acknowledging that your demeanor may have been off-putting, that may incriminate you.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of a more talented version of Johnny Manziel. I don't want to be cynical, but drip, drip, drip.
I wouldn't compare Jameis Winston to Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel is a fuck-up. He's a rich fuck-up. That's all he is. Johnny Manziel is somebody who wants to be the quote-unquote life of the party. He wants to use drugs and alcohol really to forget how much he hates himself. For whatever reason, Johnny Manziel hates himself. Some people have too much access for their own good. And Johnny Manziel is one of those people. A lot goes into success in life. In any field that you go into, a lot goes into success. The main thing that you have to have is focus. And Johnny Manziel doesn't have that. I would not compare Jameis Winston to Johnny Manziel. Jameis is focused on being a successful NFL quarterback. His problems come in his decision making. He has very, very poor discipline. He does not know how to control himself in regards to how he expresses himself. It's different from somebody who has a chemical dependency.
Drip, your life's a resume. I tell my kids that all the time. What's on your resume?
That's a great statement. I would compare Jameis Winston more to Cam Newton than I would to Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel is a complete fuck up. Jameis Winston is like Cam. You know that he's going to be focused on the game, but you have to question his intellect. But like Colin said, your life is definitely a resume, and people will try to use your track record against you.
The questions I always had about Jameis Winston weren't arm, weren't size, wasn't leadership, but it was judgment. And
I made a video earlier about Jameis Winston, well before this issue came out. That's going to be released probably at the same time as this video, where I have to question Jameis in regards to putting him in that class of up and coming young quarterbacks, because he has not really taken a step forward on the field in regards to his decision making, and clearly he has not taken a step forward off the field in his decision making as well. So he has to be very, very careful. With the talent that Tampa Bay has, all the scrutiny for their lack of success is going to fall on him. When you have Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans on the outside, as well as the tight end that they drafted out of Alabama, I believe his name is O.J. Howard. You got the little running back Doug Martin in the backfield. They are expecting a lot of productivity from their offense that they're not getting from Jameis. And now you have this issue with this female accusing you of groping her. That is a major thing that you're going to see more and more females come out with subsequently, especially now that they see the environment, the atmosphere has changed. Like I tell you brothers incessantly, the woman is a chameleon. Okay? They are going to respond to changes in their environment. Now, every woman who's upset with an athlete is going to accuse him of sexual harassment or sexual abuse. Every woman who's upset with a man is going to accuse him of sexual harassment or sexual abuse. You're Jameis Winston. You have a multi-million-dollar contract. Why is it that you don't have a personal driver and a personal car? Why are you riding an Uber for? Much less with a female driver. All right, I'm not Jameis Winston. I wouldn't get into an Uber car with a female driver. I don't trust none of these broads. All right, unless it's a woman in my family or the woman I'm with.
And I think in his NFL career, I think his on the field question has been some judgment, and I think his off the field from college on, similarly.
And let me say this. They're under scrutiny also, all right? They're under scrutiny. Everybody's under scrutiny. But you're Jameis Winston. You getting into a car with a random broad behind the wheel? Are you crazy or deranged? I don't give a shit how many people are in the car with you. You go out there and you hire a driver and you have them drive you around. That's it. It's not that hard to figure out. And you make sure that the driver is a man, and you make sure that the car that you drive in, or that you ride in, pardon me, has a camera at all times. You are an asset to yourself. Why would you put yourself in that situation? And then on top of that, by your own admission in your statement, you seem to have an off-putting demeanor when you got in the car. You see, anybody who can see Jameis, how he conducts himself on the sideline, he does get out of control. He's one of those guys with very little inhibition.
And I felt this about Johnny Manziel. First it was a little uncoachable. Then it was the problem with the pictures at A&M. Then it was the money sign. Then it was barking at a coach. And that's why I said, I can't draft him. I'm going to watch how you're going to tell me what you are. And I'm going to believe you.
I agree with that. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Oftentimes in life, we hope for the best with people who are blatantly honest with us. You can only hope for the best with people who haven't shown you who they are. But when people tell you who they are, believe them automatically. Because a lot of times that's them warning you. You're a better person than me. Get away from me before I bring negative energy into your life.
Yeah, I think the problems he had at Florida State, the accusations of rape, and then in the aftermath of the accusations of rape, he stands in the middle of the campus and says something very profane that is clearly out of bounds, particularly given his background. And then he comes into the NFL and he's continued to show a lack of judgment. He gets in front of kids and says something to little girls that's really stupid.
No, he didn't say anything stupid in front of little girls. I did a video about that, about the fat feminist who attacked him over that. He didn't say anything stupid. He just said it in a very clunky way. Jameis was trying to accentuate the fact that boys have a different nature from girls, and that different things are expected of boys than of girls. But because of the gender recalibration and the gender reprogramming that boys and girls go through in this society, everybody's taught that they're supposed to have the same nature, the same characteristics, and go for the same goals. So they train girls to believe that they are competition for men. Now, Jameis clearly does not subscribe to that belief system or that philosophy, and that's good. But he also has to understand that when he goes to a school to speak to children, the teachers there are trained to teach the children that they are competition for each other, that little boys and little girls, that there's no difference. So he has to be cognizant of that. And he clearly wasn't, and they got him into a little bit of trouble. So I disagree with Whitlock on that one. There was nothing stupid about Jameis and his sentiment there. What was bad was his unawareness of the philosophies that are taught in the modern day school system, and the fact that if you're going to go there and speak, you have to know that you have to present yourself in a little bit more of an astute way to stay out of a lot of these different landmines. But that's a part of life.
Listen, at the end of the day, people are uncomfortable when you say this, but it's just factual. Jameis Winston's not that smart.
Hey. That's why I compared him more to Cam Newton. And, certain cats got mad at me when I said that about Cam. It's just how I feel. I just don't believe Cam is that smart. And look, he has great gifts and talents that were given to him from up above, from the Most High. And he has taken those talents and he's maximized them. So that's a great thing. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the world. Everybody does not have to be the smartest guy in the world. All right. You have to take whatever gifts you have and use them. They could still be great people. Just because they don't have the greatest amount of discernment does not make them bad people. But it does mean that they have to spend more time working on honing at least a level of circumspection so that they can be more aware of what's going on around them and they can avoid little traps. Because I would definitely cast Jameis along this in the same vein as Cam Newton, as somebody who I wouldn't necessarily call dumb per se, but he's definitely not going to receive any invites from Mensa. I'll leave it at that. And he has to stop putting himself in such precarious situations. Like, there's no way in the world that I would get into a vehicle with a female Uber driver. Like, give me a fucking break. These bitches out here out of their fucking mind. You never know what the hell just happened to this broad. Probably one of her boyfriends just texted her and said he don't want to talk to her no more. Now she mad at men. You know, you in the car with the bitch. She talking about, I hate men. I'm about to drive us off the road. Nah, I don't think so. You know what, Ho, pull me over. Goodbye. I don't, look, if you're not a female in my family or the female I'm with, keep it at high and by. All right. And like I said, you have to scrutinize everybody, period. But no. There's no way in the world I'm Jameis Winston and I'm getting in an Uber car with a female driving. Hell no.
And if you look at this situation, his response here, it's not that smart. He may not have done this, but
you know damn well that man didn't get in no Uber car, especially with other people in the car, and grope the damn driver. But, you know, people see an easy mark. You know, a professional robber or thief, when they see somebody walking down the street, they know, okay, you know, this person's an easy mark. It's like a woman who's trying to hustle a guy. Sometimes it shows in your countenance that you're an easy mark. Or sometimes a bully might try to walk somebody down and bully somebody who they feel like based on their face or their physique is an easy mark. Jameis just has that look of somebody who's a dunce, you know? And his conduct has done very little to change that or to alter that perception. But he just has that look of, you know, dope.
At the end of his statement, he should not have said, I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable in any way, if my demeanor, blah, blah, blah. That's a subtle shot. That's I'm sorry I was a big black guy and made you uncomfortable.
I don't know if he was going there, but maybe he was. Who knows? I really think that he was talking about himself. I think that he got in the car probably a little too loud and appeared to be over aggressive in some way. At least that's how he feels she may have perceived him to be. And for him to say that, I just don't think that was wise. He should not have said that at all. All he had to say was, what I'm being accused of or the allegations are groundless. I did nothing to that woman. And, me and my legal team are going to get to the bottom of it. But you have to understand the atmosphere in the sports world right now and in American society in general is that they're engaging in witch hunts on any man who is approaching women in a sexual way. As I told you guys with the Harvey Weinstein videos, this is all about social engineering. Certain cats said, it's also about a monetary issue with Miramax and things of that nature. Of course, money's always at the heart of certain things. Of course, they want to take him out of power and most likely liquidate his assets and take the company over. Certain shareholders or sponsors want him out for whatever reason. Of course, that always plays into it. But I look at things from a societal perspective. The economic issue is definitely important and should be touched on as well. But from a societal perspective, they want the man to conform to the ideology that not only that you're only equal to the woman, but that you're less than them. Okay? So that's why I tell cats all the time, if it's not a woman that you're with or a woman in your family, ignore these women. As soon as he saw the Uber car pull up and there was a woman inside, he should have said, no, thank you. His ass is supposed to have been hired a professional driver with a car to assist him at all times. He is a millionaire.
It's a mistake. He says he doesn't want to engage in any type of battle. Then don't. Just prove that it wasn't you and leave any nitpicking back and forth alone. Jameis Winston's just not that smart, and the buck.
Well, he's just not that shrewd. I mean, to say he's not that smart, like when I say him and Cam are not that smart, I'm talking about shrewdness. I'm talking about decision making. I mean, he could be a straight A student. From what I understand, he gets good grades or he received good grades in school. So I just think that Jameis is just not that shrewd.
The Buccaneers are going to have to make a very tough decision on him at some point.
It's I'd love to give him the benefit of the doubt, but when you have a history of poor decisions, as you guys have done a really good job of pointing out, it's hard to do that. And I hope he has some way he can prove that he wasn't worried, so that this didn't happen. But
why would he need to have some way to disprove an allegation? Isn't it on her to prove it? It's incumbent upon the accuser to say, this is exactly what happened. Here are my witnesses. I had a video camera in the car, and here's what he did, and here's when he did it. Here's why he did it after I said what I said, so on and so forth. But just the fact that Danny Cannell is making that statement about how it's up to Jameis to disprove her allegations, once again shows you the climate that men are in here in America, particularly professional athletes. And this is why I harp on shrewdness and discernment and decision making, because the woman is a follower by nature, I'm telling you, and they are opportunists, and they are contortionists. They are going to adapt to their environment, and the woman has many faces, man. Period. That's why he should not. The problem started when he got into a car that was driven by a woman. Ain't nowhere in the world that a man in his position is supposed to be getting into a car driven by a woman, not with his track record. Okay?
But I don't know if he's going to be able to. And at some point, I'm with you. You're either really dumb or really immature. Maybe it's a little bit of both.
I agree with that. It is a little bit of both. Like I said, supposedly he got good grades in school, but that does not necessarily denote intelligence. That more can denote that, he knows how to study well to pass tests and pass exams.
Because you're seeing these decisions on the field, off the field, and don't forget about some of the stuff that looks very immature, or the pregame stuff when he's eating the deli, like just weird, random, like what are you doing? I
totally agree with that, and I mentioned that in the last video. You could tell by the look on his teammates' faces. They're ready to tap out on Jameis Winston. They're about ready to sell that stock, because there's only so much of that pregame shit that you can do if you ain't getting it done in the game. All right, all that hyping people up stuff in the pregame, that's great as long as you're getting the job done during the game. After a while, you just a cheerleader with pads on.
And I think he does have a tremendous amount of growing up, but at this point in his career, when you're approaching an age, it is time to grow up so you don't have these types of things cropping up time and time again.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on the football side of things because I don't know what the truth is with all of the allegations that are out there, but if I'm a teammate and I'm an organization, every time something like this comes up and you're considered, this is our franchise guy, it's a knock on your credibility.
Absolutely. Because even if he didn't do it, teammates, people who are expecting you to lead them somewhere are saying, why are you the target of all of these allegations? Why is your name always popping up? I mean, look, the slogan "where there's smoke, there's fire" is definitely a real statement. It's definitely a real slogan, and it's definitely pertinent. Jameis Winston has to figure out how to avoid getting into dumb shit. But some people in life, man, look, and we all grew up with certain people like this, whether they be family members or friends. It's almost like they snake bitten. They're always getting caught up in dumb shit that doesn't happen to anybody else. It always happens to them.
In the locker room, and even as a leader. And when you have a player in a position as a quarterback, you are expecting them to show maturity both on the field and off the field, so that your credibility and the level of respect that your counterparts, your teammates have for you is so high to where you can say something on the field and you can get them to play and you can get them to buy in.
Absolutely. That's the point of a quarterback. You have to be able to galvanize your teammates. To whom much is given, much is required. And when the circumstances change, your conduct has to change, man. Look, man, we live in a society right now, and I keep saying this, where, particularly if you're a man, you're guilty until proven innocent when a female makes a certain allegation, especially in the NFL, which is at the center of a strategic attempt to socially engineer society by first engineering the league, trying to recalibrate the league. And a little bit for the better, because a lot of these guys have to learn that, look, you just can't treat anybody any type of way. You just can't speak to anybody any type of way just because you're a professional athlete. You do have to respect people. And if you don't know how to respect people, then you need to learn. And in the meantime, you need to ostracize yourself from those type of situations or scenarios because you have such a lack of self-control. And the lack of self-control is definitely indicative of immaturity and simplicity. And do you want somebody who's immature and simple trying to lead your franchise? Because right now, Tampa Bay, you mad as hell because you feel like you got the pieces every other position. You just need the quarterback. And this is a guy you drafted #1 in the draft. So, right now it's like, damn, if we get rid of this guy, we got to find somebody else and quick because we have all this talent that we signed.
With his name coming up, whether it's true or not, it's a knock at his credibility. Regardless if it even comes out true or not, it's just a constant blow to the side of the ribs to where if I'm a teammate, it's like, man, I need you to be the guy that we all expect you to be, and that is mature and our leader, because you're in a position that requires you to be such.
This is why it's hard to be an NFL quarterback. It really is. If he's a left guard, I'm not sure it doesn't make the AP wire.
Absolutely. Remember, the NFL is it's really built off of the same blueprint of the military. And, the owner is like the commander in chief. The GM is like the general. The coach is like the colonel. And when you're the quarterback on the field, you're like the sergeant. Your job is to lead the troops in the battle. And you have to be able to direct people. You have to be able to decipher and discern the commands from the upper levels of that military that you're fighting for. You got to be able to march your troops down the field and execute. And if you can't, if there's an inability that you have to decipher the commands and to give out those orders to your teammates, they're gonna lose trust in you, and eventually you're gonna get court-martialed. Simple as that. So point being is this: Jameis Winston, even though he's probably only about 24, 25 years old, the sand is draining out of the hourglass for him. I don't know if he understands that or not. As I said in the previous video, they're going to give him one more year to show a true growth. They're really using Mariota as a barometer for Jameis Winston. Fortunately for Jameis, Mariota has had some injury issues as well that haven't made the difference between him and Jameis as stark as I believe the difference is. Jameis is going to have to come out next season and throw at least 30 touchdowns and have no more than 10 interceptions for them to really say, okay, we're going to move forward with him as the centerpiece for this project.
Wire. The reality of being a quarterback, this is why this is why they ask your mom, your dad, they ask your high school counselors. This is why they have the Wonderlic, why they ask pointed questions, why they have the interview, why sometimes it feels inappropriate. We're asking 22-year-old kids to be the face of an NFL franchise. We got owners in this league that I'm not sure are always capable. 58-year-old men from Harvard and business schools. These are kids. And it's quite possible he will grow into it. But at this moment, it's fair to say he's not there yet.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm getting a little tired of the kid excuse. All right? You could use the kid excuse about the crab legs. He was getting a hookup. You can use an excuse about even, the rape accusation, even though I'm not crazy about that. All right, when you allow yourself into a room with a woman by yourself, you have to make sure that you actually know this person. You can't just be running off trying to skeet up in broads that you don't know, and you're the quarterback of a college team. You have to understand the motivations behind most of these women is to bring confusion. Once again, the woman is an agent of chaos. All right, period. And when you understand that concept, it keeps you out of a lot of bullshit. A lot of bullshit. Keeps you out of court, keeps you out of jail. The woman is an agent of chaos. Period. And Jameis is going to have to understand these things. And once again, there's no way in the world that he was supposed to be getting into an Uber car driven by a damn woman. Hell no. That man, the first thing that the GM of Tampa Bay was supposed to instruct him on is how to get a driver, hire a driver, so on and so forth. And I'm not even going to accuse Tampa Bay of dropping the ball. I'm just saying if I was their GM, that's what I would have instructed him on. But I'm not going to accuse them of anything, of a dereliction of duty, because he, as a young man, is supposed to understand, coming off of all the controversy that he came off of, okay, I'm going to avoid this little silly shit. I'm going to get me a driver, a car, and that'll be that. And do like Jeter do. When these bitches come to your house, the phone goes in that basket. Here's a contract for you to sign. Everything that's going to go down here is consensual. You don't like it? Take your $5 ass home. Goodbye.
Yeah, but we've had so many other guys that have been able to handle it.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not, the age is not an excuse. And we're seeing, two guys in their second year, and Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, who are handling it exceptionally well. When you look at what they're doing in the community.
Well, thus far, they're handling it better. But, a lot of times you have Caucasian quarterbacks who go through certain things, and as I stated in a previous video, it just doesn't get reported because there's a framework of protection around them. But that's neither here nor there. That's not an excuse for Jameis and his simplicity.
What is beyond me is how, after all the history of incidents, and I don't know exactly we don't know the details. We don't know if he was there or what he's claiming it didn't happen. You should be pristine in your treatment of women, where you are around people, who you hang out with.
Absolutely.
To make sure that these types of allegations should never happen. And it's just, you wonder when is going to be a time when he says, all right, I'm going to clean it up. I don't know if it ever happens.
Danny.
Well, look, I knew that something was wrong with the dude when he was trying to hit on this chick. What's this chick name that's with Orlando Scandrick? That little $2 hole from the internet, Drea, whatever her name is, Drea. One of these little $2 hole reality broads. When I saw a picture of him trying to open a door for her and hit on her, I said, this nigga's a thirst hound, man. He's gonna get into the same dumb shit with women in the NFL that he was getting into in college. Man, just something wrong with Jameis, man.
Danny, you played at Florida State. You played quarterback at Florida State. Was Jameis's reputation among his peers at Florida State, was it good, or was he not? Again,
as far as a teammate, exceptional. Leadership skills, exceptional. But yeah, I think there was some maturity issues. I think it drove Jimbo Fisher crazy that he had to answer questions about the incident in the student union when he yells something incredibly offensive to women. It just wasn't a profanity. It was offensive to women after he was dealing with the rape allegation. Like, that to me, just something doesn't compute there.
I agree. Okay, there's a certain gear that's missing upstairs in that clock in Jameis's head. There's a certain gear that's not spinning. There's no doubt about that. And if you're Tampa Bay and their upper management, like I stated in the previous video, and I was just stating this based off his performance on the field, Jameis has next year to show them what he can do. He's going to be going into his 4th year next year, I believe. So he's going to have to show them what he can really do next year. After that, they may consider moving on to somebody else.
You have to grow up at some point in your career, and I worry about him because he's incredibly talented, and yet you're seeing immature decisions on and off the field where it has to stop.
To Pittsburgh, where the steep.
But anyway, I hope for the best for Jameis. I hope that he can come to some form of enlightenment or illumination in how to treat other people and how, most importantly, to protect himself in this society, because it is a jungle out here. Okay, so hopefully somebody could take him aside and help him out, because he definitely needs it. But, discernment and decision making is a gift. A lot of times, a lot of people never get to the level where they can make proper decisions. But he has too much to lose. He's not the average person. So hopefully he can put those things he can take those things into account. But anyway, peace.